Same here, man. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome, of course, to Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk Gundam gaming and Gunpla. And tonight, we are honored, nay, privileged, to speak on all three because we're talking Gundam Assemble, which is
That's right.
literally all those things, right? Gundam, Gunpla, and gaming all in one. I am, of course, your host, Stephen Bayless, aka Midnight Hatter. Joining me, as always, the Blue Gamer Gundam Explainer, Adam Blue. How are you, man?
Doing good. I've been anticipating this week, the stream, or just to get the rundown on what's going on with the symbol. I know you're the man for that. So I'm curious because you even brought up there's videos that released today about it.
Yes, today was the big announcement, and I kind of feel like there was some serendipity around that because last year, when the initial announcement around Gundam Assemble was made, I was like, this is my calling, right? I'm the
Yep.
tabletop gaming guy. I love Gundam. You know, I spent 4 years basically trying to create Gundam miniatures that I could 3D print and paint or make resin copies of and paint and all of these things. And our mutual friend, Zionic Shadow, he texted me, I think it was like at 1 or 2 in the morning and said, "Bro, they just dropped this news about a Gundam miniatures game. You need to do something." And so that night, I did all this research and I was like, I'm going to record a video right now, and honestly, that was the second highest grossing views video that I ever did. So the
I
first one
remember
was a
that.
hand painting Gunpla video. The second one was the Gundam Assemble reaction to all of the news that had come out straight from the Bandai Card Games Fest. So this is something that we've been talking about a lot over the last 12 months. And obviously we have had the Gundam card game release since then
Yeah.
that came with its own set of Gundam Assemble miniatures, and I've made no secret about it, is like, I love miniature wargaming. BattleTech is a big one with me. My favorite, of course, is HeroScape. I
Yeah.
also played Hero Clicks and, like, Halo Clicks and all those other clicks, the
Spin-offs.
those Whiz Kids games back in the day as well. But yeah, HeroScape was number 1, BattleTech was number 2, for sure. And when they said, "Hey, March 4th, we're gonna be making a special announcement about the final release dates, the sets that are coming out, all of that good stuff," I was like, "Wait a second. March 4th is a Wednesday, and wouldn't you know it, Wednesday is when I stream." So,
Perfect.
someone's looking out for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, that
Um,
I mean, if they saw the views that video of yours did, of
yeah.
course. Yeah.
And I've taken a stab at making my own, Gundam miniatures. In fact, you know what? Before I get started, I'm gonna queue up some visuals because I have released for free some Gundam
Mm.
miniatures that you can 3D print and paint and do that sort of thing. What was interesting is I was surprised to find that one of the poses I chose to use for one of my Gundam miniatures was actually one of the poses that they use in the final game, so that was kind of interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so let me get this queued up. I just wanna make sure that we've got all of our visuals ready to go because we are gonna be diving into it. We're gonna be looking at all of the photos, all of the shop pages, all of that good stuff, and basically, we're gonna talk about the rules. They released a rule set video, so they've talked about how to play the game, um, you know, basically everything. Now, what we do know is that the game will be officially releasing in Japan late October this year, November for us over in the United States. There are already places that you can start pre ordering. I haven't yet, but drop in the comments if you
Hmm,
have.
good
I'm
point.
interested to know who is going to be participating in this game, obviously. Before we hop into the topic du jour, I'm trying to think of any announcements in particular that are interesting of note. Obviously, I'm a big fan of SD Gundam G Generation
Mm.
Eternal, the mobile app game, and they just released Gundam Age as one of the story modes. So they are almost, like, complete as far as the story mission modes because it's like Gundam Age. I think they need to add Turn A, G-Reco, and then, like, the 2nd season of Double O. That's, like, pretty much it, right?
Yeah, would they do the movie as a separate
That would be an interesting, event.
wait, do
I would keep them separate personally, like,
yeah,
because then you would have the opportunity to create new banner suits and new gotchas. Um, Interestingly enough, this Friday, I think it's this Friday, there's a Gundam G Generation Eternal and Gundam Assemble crossover event, so a cross promotion where
weird.
you are gonna be able to do something related to Gundam Assemble, and you're gonna get free gotcha pulls in G Generation Eternal.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out then.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some SD news to share, that was not so overtly shared via
Hmm.
the official channels, but we're gonna get into that. Um, Adam, what have you been up to this week, Gundam related?
Yeah. Man, I've been busy with work, but the video that came out Monday just had to do with AI and Gundam and just talking about it in real life. Only because, with the AI conversation, I feel like a lot of people are so hung up on generative AI
Right.
for like more for, hobby stuff, but gatekeeping it, and it's like, well, let's look at AI from just a technological perspective, and from the standpoint of, like, in sci-fi or in Gundam, there's a lot of functions that are occurring that are autonomous, that are based on algorithms and machine learning, but no one goes, "Oh, this is AI. Oh, this is AI." It's just a natural way of things, and so it was cool to look at different Gundam tech in that lens, so I had fun doing that.
One of the things that stood out to me about that video is when you talked about Veda from Double O.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah.
the way that Veda is able to predict these, like, events where it's like, "Oh, oh, what is the country that, it's a Azerbaijan."
Yeah, it's one of those yeah, I know what
It
you're talking
I
about, yeah.
it was one of those things that, I love Double O, but there are certain things about Double O that are a little cheesy to me, like the fact that they kind of made up one of these, fictitious Middle Eastern countries that's always in turmoil, and they called it an Azerbaijan, and it's like,
Yep.
Okay, I
I
get
think
it."
Ace Combat does that too, if you're not familiar. It has, like, its own fake world, and everything seems similar.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is that, like, Veda is able to predict these conflicts that happen on Earth due to socio-political pressures and things like that. It's able to process a lot of data and see public sentiment and see where political leaders are leaning. What's interesting, and I don't know if you saw this, but it's like Grok was able to predict down to the day when the Iran strike was going to happen. And we don't
Wow.
often talk about, like, real life politics on this channel, but I think it's interesting that perhaps in the future, Setsuna Fseye will be saying, like, "Grok, should I attack?" Like, you know,
Pretty much what was going on.
that's
That is pretty
exactly
neat.
it.
I did not know about I did see some like a Google Maps engineer was able to create a heat map of showing, like, all the missile strikes or something.
It's
Uh,
wild.
yeah. And it but that almost makes it feel like these things are if it's that obvious, how, like, secretly nefarious are these events where sometimes, like, well, maybe these are really just events that need to occur if it can be predicted. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it it's cynical because it's like, well, we're talking about the lives and livelihoods of
Right.
thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of human beings. But what's fascinating about it is how it aligns so easily to these algorithms that a simple machine learning algorithm that literally all it does is predict the next most likely token is capable of saying, "Yep, that's about to happen, and there's nothing you guys can do about it because what it reminds me of is the Scorpion and the Frog, that story
Oh, yeah.
where it's
Yeah,
like, it's in my nature, like,
yeah.
you can't fight it." And so,
Mm.
imagine having a cricket on your shoulder, you know, your Jiminy Cricket, your conscience that's telling you, like, "You're going to do this. It's in your nature." And you can deny your nature for a time, but eventually you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I'm just telling you that this is what's going to happen. Like, that's a
Yeah, and it's a real thing. I mean, it's like with kids, when you don't want them to get into something, it is going to happen, so you have to kinda be there, but, it's yeah, it's an inevitability, and, I guess there's that Overwatch, and it's like, Minority Report as well.
Oh, yeah.
It has a little
Pre-crime.
bit of that, but I gotta say, and I'm gonna research this when we're done, but I'm curious for Grok to be able to again, for Grok to predict that, how much public information is there to make it seem, "Oh, this is going to happen because, hey, this is what's going on." And again, it's that's interesting,
It
right?
is quite fascinating.
Mm.
And again, the best predictions are always from conspiracy theorists. Is like, we always go
Yeah.
back to that meme from The Whitest Kids You Know, where Trevor Moore and Zach Kreger have that skit where it's like, have you seen this one where it's the
Nope.
White House press room and the press secretary comes in, it's Trevor Moore, and he's saying, hey, I can't confirm all the details, but yes, we do have a secret moon base, and yes, the moon base is currently experiencing a bear problem. Like,
That's
and obviously the press corps is sitting there. They're like,
that's
"Wait a second,
hilarious.
excuse me," and he says, "Yes, sure, sure. Yeah, New York Times. I have a 10, no, 11-part question. First, did you just say that we have a secret moon base and that said moon base is experiencing a bear problem?" "Yes, I did." Follow-up question, "Are you fucking with us?" Like,
That's pretty funny, I'll have to check that out. But I feel like that kinda goes on even today, like, it was funny, there was that
yeah,
interview with, like, Hillary over the Epstein things,
yeah,
but they were talking about the information that she's like, "Yes, I'm allowed to talk about it, but it's just some of that stuff is classified information." So, not that it but it's this is where it gets interesting, though. It's where that's how embedded these things are, where so, like, that classified information, though, might not be related to Jeffrey Epstein and the things that went down. It's just they're in that
it's tangential.
yeah, they're in that realm, so he's involved with high technology, you
Yeah,
know? And so then all of a sudden, "Oh, now this has to be classified because this was" that it's like with the United States nuclear weapons program,
right.
even though it's done under the Department of Energy, it's
Yeah,
energy, but it's classified as a nuclear weapon.
it is
So,
very energetic.
yeah, so, yeah, yeah, I love that stuff. Um,
It is, it's fascinating stuff, man.
one more thing.
And
Yes,
it's
go.
just interesting, of course, like, the reason we talk about it is because of how much life imitates art, imitates
Mm.
life, imitates art, and it really is back and forth, anyone who tells you that, like, "Oh, life just imitates art," it really is, like, the stories that we tell are inspired by the things that happen in life, and then the things that happen in life are almost like I don't wanna say, predicted, but, like, they're prophesied in the art that we tell and the stories that we tell.
And
So
and sometimes it's like coincidences, and sometimes I think as humans, we actually don't realize just how networked all molecular structures are to where things just tend to come and it's supposed to be a psychological, reasoning for the Mandela effect.
right, yeah.
It's not that it's something, really that whole it's just that as a collective consciousness and this sort of yeah, but anyway, we can move on. One more thing I wanna bring up before we get into the topics, because it is gaming related, is, they announced those skins for Apex Legends. Did you see that?
Yes, I did actually shout out in the chat to Ultronymous for
Trying to
bringing that
yeah.
to my attention. I'm not a big Apex guy,
Me neither.
What were your thoughts on the skins that came out? Because we saw a lot of the usual suspects when it comes
Right.
to the skins. So, for those of you who don't know, there are what is it, 8 Gundam skins
It's a
in
yeah,
Apex
that's
Legends
about it.
coming out.
Mhm.
They're not to particularly celebrate any particular occasion, but they are unique, offerings that kind of evoke a lot of the popular Gundam franchise headliners, if you will.
Right, and you know what? I think tomorrow on the Gundam Explained show, I want us to play a game where we're gonna look at a picture of the 4 or the 8, I'm sorry, and we're gonna pick which one doesn't belong because there should be another suit there.
Do not I was about to say when you said play a game, I'm like, "Please do not make me play Apex Legends." I really am not, like, that's not
No, okay, I see where that would have gone, yeah. And to be honest, I'm not even bothering with Apex Legends, like, it's I've
which is funny because you played the Call of Duty, like,
the
when the Gundam Call of Duty skins came out, and then did you play what was the other
Fortnite
game that which one?
Fortnite
Fortnite,
and Call of Duty Mobile.
Call of Duty wait, which one had the Death Scythe as one of the
Call of Duty Mobile.
that was Call of Duty Mobile, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm willing to try those. Call of Duty's fun, and then the mobile game was gonna have its own app, and you know what? I have nothing against Apex Legends, but what I will say is that's probably a good move, for Bandai because it still has concurrent 100,000 players. Like, it's still a big game, and, so, hey, if this is another way for them to get eyes on Gundam before they make their big prestige Gundam game one day, sure. Which again, I feel like I still have all these things to say, so I'm sorry, but
No,
because
no.
remember when we were talking about a couple weeks ago, bringing up the whole thing about Gundam being brought under one arm, and then like, "Oh,
Yes.
why are people bringing this
Yeah.
back up again?" Well, it is relevant
Yeah,
because
100%.
so that Apex Legends thing is the last of it would be that multiple divisions within Bandai would work on Gundam stuff.
Yep.
But now how it's going to be moving forward is anyone that's doing a Gundam related thing is under the entire Gundam brand of even like so what's gonna happen is someone within Bandai Filmworks is probably either gonna get an external developer to then make the game, and it's gonna be managed under the Bandai Filmworks. And I think they're gonna be the ones that reach out. It's not gonna be like the marketing arm of Bandai.
Correct.
So
And I think that we are seeing kind of the last vestiges of Bandai's third-party marketing and developing arm, like, literally today. Like, as recently as today, it feels like, um,
oh, yeah.
there's a lot of they are bringing everything in-house. This is emblematic in the sense that Bandai Hobby changed their logo. Which, it's a very minor thing, like, we're talking about, like, "Oh, Cracker Barrel changed their logo." They changed their logo, they're going a different direction in the content that they're producing, they're going a different direction in the products that they're producing. I think that, you know,
Oh.
in the next few weeks, you're going to see the last vestiges of the things that were produced by third party produ whether it was marketing or actual
Right.
products like, the BB Studio stuff, but so,
Wow, this is
interesting stuff.
fascinating. I just looked up the logo now. I would have never known if you didn't say anything. The other thing, then and this maybe will lead into the topic, but then they made their own Gundam Assemble YouTube channel.
Gundam Assemble YouTube channel, go subscribe if you haven't. A lot of the videos that I'm gonna be referencing tonight, they've only got, like, 500 subscribers on this poor channel, so
Right.
please go subscribe. Um, I'm not going to endorse any of the videos that they made because there's some silly stuff in there, which, maybe we'll talk about. I don't know, we'll see what happens tonight. We'll
Yeah.
see how saucy I get, but,
I'm
there's
just
some funny stuff in there,
yeah.
but yeah, no, suffice to say, they are going in a new direction for sure. New logo, new media, new everything, and, I don't know, I'm excited about it. We'll see what happens. They actually started their own, like, tabletop division too, like, Bandai tabletop games. So that's like
Hmm.
its own whole thing. Um, that
Yeah,
that
I'm really
could be
curious,
very
especially
promising for a lot of reasons.
yeah, especially with this movie coming, the live action movie. Whenever
They wanna
am
make
I
sure
gonna
that they've
say
got that
what
one.
I'm wondering if, like, this time next year, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I can't wait for more Gundam movie info." You know?
Probably,
I feel
probably. Well, it's funny because it's almost a year to the day when we had the Gundam Assemble announcement, and I made that video, and then it's like a year later, we now have an announcement that it's gonna be out later this year. It's like
yeah,
an
that's
announcement for the
forever.
announcement that's the announcement that's gonna be announced.
Yeah, it taking forever. Turns out.
Well, without further ado, let's cover some of the Gundam Assemble news that came out today. Now, Adam, you said you watched a little bit of the sort of gameplay video with the
Yeah,
developers. They actually have a quick start guide, which is awesome, which is over on the Gundam Assemble YouTube channel. It's like maybe 2.5, 3 minutes, but it definitely teaches you how to play the game. We're going to talk about gameplay mechanics here shortly because there's some positives and there's some negatives, honestly. Like, there's some stuff
okay.
that I'm like, I honestly, TLDR, I don't know if I'm gonna play this, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get into that spicy stuff here
Yeah,
soon. First, let's just hop over to the Gundam Assemble official Twitter account because this is where a lot of the information has been coming. Obviously, they have the paint packs are on sale. These are official Mr. Hobby paint sets that are the specific colors if you want to use them, what have you. This is going to be kind of going back to front because obviously, the way that Twitter timelines work. Um,
oh,
so what they did announce is that the initial launch products are going to be out in October in Japan this year and in November of the rest of the world this year. We'll talk about prices in a little bit because obviously that's a it's a sticky subject for me, and I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about that shortly. But for now, we're going to talk about the fact that they have already planned to release expansion sets every month following the initial launch. So, similar to the
oh,
card game, they're going to be launching new products every month coming out, which is really promising because it's like, hey, you guys are going to be doing like they're committing to it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, that
Um,
I didn't know it was gonna be one a month.
Yeah.
That's
So obviously, you see here they've got expansion set 5, which is slated to come out in December of 2026. Interestingly enough, if you look at the silhouettes that we've got here, these are actually models that already came out as part of the Wings of Advance, you know,
no.
so it's the 2 Leos and the tall geese, which if you guys follow me, you know that I've already made a copy and painted one of said Leos and installed LEDs in it. So,
Amazing.
yeah, man, if you're not putting LEDs in your miniatures, I don't know what you're doing. So that's coming out in December. You're gonna get the tall geese, you're gonna get a ground type Leo, and you're gonna get a space type Leo. Also, we have in November, this looks like the Wing Gundam, the Heavy Arms, and the Death Scythe. No Shenlong, no Sandra.
Mhm.
This
Yeah,
is expansion pack 4. So that's gonna be coming out in November. These are so obviously the prices are in yen. We've got
mhm.
3,300 yen, which is roughly like I wanna say it's like 21 to $24 US.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, Now obviously there are considerations that go into this, and this goes into our rant about pricing because
Mhm.
you and I, Adam, and confirm this. I don't want to
Okay.
put words in your mouth, but you and I are some of the staunchest of P Bandai defenders, right?
That is absolutely correct. In fact, the last few Gunpla I've bought were specifically P Bandai. I
So,
mean, I
like, brand me a shill. Like,
yeah,
I get it. However, when I look at the pricing around the Gundam Assemble figures, obviously, 3,300 yen in Japan is around 2,100 or 2,100, 21 to $24 US. For 3 models, I would be willing to pay 33 to $34 US because that would be roughly like 10 to $12 per model, right? And that's in line with what Games Workshop charges for like a 3-pack of Space Marines. Like you can get a 3-pack of Warhammer Space Marines for 35 bucks. However, currently, if you go online, there are only 2 people that are accepting pre-orders for Gundam Assemble figures. You've got USA Gundam Store and you've got Gundam Planet, Planet Gundam, what have you.
Yeah, Gundam Planet, yeah.
They are charging between 40 and $50 for the 3-figure expansion packs. So,
Mm,
this is not a criticism that I'm leveling against Bandai, this is a criticism that I'm leveling against US retailers, where they're not even charging what I would consider a fair market price for the product given like, because again, I would pay $35. What's interesting is, again, the MSRP on these things is roughly $24. I bought these guys, the Gundam Assemble starter decks for the
yeah,
Gundam card game. The MSRP on these was $35.
mm,
Okay? I overpaid, because I was
well,
committed to getting these things because I wanted to pre-order them. I wanted to make sure that I would get some in hand. So I paid 50. Even then, I also got a deck.
yeah?
I got the starter deck that comes with them. So you're telling me that you're going to charge the same amount for 3 Gundam Assemble figures as I paid for 3 Gundam Assemble figures plus a Gundam card game deck.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Well, you know what? In these times, it just doesn't because I will say I have never not been so fast to look up and pre-order something when I saw an advertisement that I could pre-order something. If that makes sense.
Now, again, adjusted for well, we'll get into the bigger sets. These are just the expansion sets. So
Yeah,
obviously these are just the 3-figure boosters, but we're gonna get into like the main sets here shortly because obviously those were announced first.
yeah.
This right here is one of the booster sets, expansion set 3. It
Ooh,
comes with 2 Magella tanks and a Goof.
I like that.
This I honestly, it's like I'm a little disappointed in this one. It seems like kind of, you know
For me, I think Army Builder.
yeah,
I
army
would just
builder for sure.
if it wasn't for the price, I'd buy a bunch of tanks.
Right. Expansion pack 2. This one, you guys, this is the one that I was
Yep,
looking at
that
since
has all
before it
yours.
launched. You know me. I am the Witch from Mercury simp.
Yep,
This is the Witch from Mercury expansion pack 2. It's got the Darabald, it's got the Ariel, it's got the uh
fair.
Ferract. The Ferract, that pose is goofy as hell, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I
Why
don't
is
know
he
what he's trying
pointing
to
his
do.
rifle up?
Yeah, I don't know. With yeah, what maybe you can fix it.
Maybe, yeah, that deserves a video in itself, for sure. So let's go down and see what else we've got. Expansion pack 1. This is one of the ones that
Oh,
makes the least sense to me because it is the unicorn pack, right?
yeah.
It comes with the Gundam unicorn, obviously, in destroy mode. I shouldn't we gotta be
Yeah,
clear.
true.
It's a destroy mode unicorn.
Yep.
It also comes with the weird little mobile worker
Yeah.
and then the Delta Plus.
Delta Plus is cool, mobile worker, no one wanted that.
Right, like, that's what I'm thinking to myself
It
is like, "Hold on, you have an expansion set for Unicorn that it's not even like you put cool stuff like" okay, let's say
there's
for
so
for
many suits from Unicorn.
there's so many suits. For the benefit of argument, let's say you just wanted to do Federation suits.
Yeah,
Alright, cool. Do your Unicorn, do the Delta Plus, and do a Jesta, or do a Zeta Plus,
Rizel.
or do a Rizel. Yeah, you've got hundreds of options. If you're not limited to just Federation suits, then you're gonna do the Unicorn, the Kshatriya, and the Delta
Oh,
Plus.
yep.
Easy, like, Done.
Yeah,
What
isn't it?
is this?
I know, and that's interesting because isn't that, wasn't that piloted by Benager at that time where he had to save Mineva the first time, or am I thinking of another?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, it
so
literally appears for, like, maybe 10 minutes of the
but
first episode.
so that's interesting of the purpose because that is a very character moment driven piece, but isn't this more of a tactical war game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, another misfire there. Now this, ooh, shout out to Ultronus because I know this is gonna be the one that this is the one that's gonna excite you. Now, the price is listed here at 14,000 yen, which if I'm not mistaken, is around $79.
Okay.
This is the 2nd deluxe set that's going to come out, not the 1st. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly enough, but it is obviously the Seed
Yeah,
deluxe set. Um, so let's
completely see
take
it.
a look at some of these models. If we look at the silhouette, obviously you see the Archangel there,
Yep,
right? Um, I think I see a Buster Gundam, I see a Dual Gundam.
yep.
Let me zoom
I
out a
think
little bit here.
that Mulaflaga ship, I think, is in the middle, and then
Yep,
the, Destiny Gundam Zeus silhouette, is that what it was called?
yep.
Is on the
You see a
left.
Legao in the bottom right corner,
Oh, yep,
the dog Gundam. It looks like there are various versions of the Strike Gundam. So it's
yeah,
like you have the Strike Gundam in the top left, and then the Sword Strike, and then it
yep.
looks like the Perfect Strike is on the top right, right?
Yeah, or the Ale Strike
Or
with
Ales oh,
the
good
pack.
catch, Ale Strike.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So,
I gotta say this is cool.
yeah.
If
I
I like Seed.
if I like Seed.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Um, very, very cool, and I'm glad that they've already planned this as the deluxe set number 2.
yeah, that is cool.
However, come on, guys. This is UC we're talking about. Deluxe
Hell
set
yeah.
number 1. Ah!
Okay, so this is what's supposed to be 70,
This is what's supposed to be like
potentially.
63 to $70. Um, now, just for I don't wanna sound like I'm complaining for no complaining's sake.
Mhm.
Here we are. This is Gundam Planet, right? All of these things are available for pre-order right now. Guys, please go pre-order this stuff if you truly want it. But
Yeah.
dang, that Gundam Assembled deluxe set is currently running at
Mm.
96.95. That's actually the best price that I found online. USA Gundam Store has it at
Oh.
99.95 right now. Um Come on, you guys know me. You know that I'm gonna price shop for you. You know I'm gonna try and find the best deals.
And
So
I
what I'm
thank you.
trying to tell you is that the exchange rate of yen to dollars would put it at $63 for these deluxe sets.
Mm.
Um, and again, I am not as someone who's no stranger to international manufacturing, to international shipping, to distribution networks, I know that there are costs associated with distributing products worldwide. I would be willing to accept 15% increase, 20% increase. This is a 30% increase over what the price would be in Japan. So it's like you would pay $63 in Japan, you pay $96 here.
Wait a minute. So, is this then okay, how am I asking this question? If you were to buy it in Japan, though, it's not gonna be in English.
No, it would be in English.
So, that makes this even worse in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's like, the own domestic version, completely
Right,
separate from an import version, and usually you pay more on imports.
right.
So, if they're making a domestic version, yet it's gonna be that much yeah, then I think this is even worse than I thought.
Kinda, right?
Yeah,
And one of the things I always go back to is because, I am again one of P Bandai's biggest shills, but a part of the reason for that is the fact that I have to go directly to Bandai to buy it. I don't have to interact with a third party seller that's
yeah.
trying to make an extra buck on top of it. I can't go to PE Bandai and buy a DX1 Gundam Assemble Deluxe Set '01 from Bandai. I have to interact with a local retailer or an online retailer such as Gundam Planet, which means I am at the mercy of whatever they set the price at. So,
Oh,
whenever people talk about and hey, I'm a big capitalist, but, like, whenever people talk about, like, "Oh, that's capitalism, baby," I'm like, "Well, it really isn't," because in true capitalism, I would be able to go to Bandai and say, like, "Oh, can I just buy that set that you just made off the print press and just pay you directly?"
yeah.
But instead, I have to work through all of these different
What's the purpose
intermediaries.
of that?
What's that?
What's the purpose of that for them to do it like that? Because I a lot of times when we defend P Bandai, like, we there's, like, a purpose behind it that makes a lot of sense. It's like that direct to consumer, only limited quality quantities, but
Right.
this, it's like
And P Bandai goes out of the way to make sure that, like, only select retailers are able to buy like, they limit the number that you can purchase with them. They make sure that they only distribute to certain retailers or whatever. So it's like Bandai actually goes out of their way to make sure that people try not to scalp P Bandai
yeah.
stuff. However, when it comes to the card game and now Gundam Assemble, it seems it seems like they don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah. It's very interesting. You know, how much
So,
of this, like we were talking about earlier, was all planned under a previous faction inside Bandai, and now they're kinda like, "Well, this is probably gonna be a loss. Let's just get this stuff out there." I mean, I hate to speculate. I'm right there with you. Why can't I
yeah.
just buy this from P Bandai? It makes no sense because, like you said, I'm really not gonna go out of my way.
No.
But I will say that let's say I was in Target and I saw this and it was $100, I would probably look at my wife and be like, "Can we get this?" Because it's a whole game, at least, and it's UC,
It is.
and it's cool. Um,
And look at
oh,
all of the models that it comes with. It comes with a
yeah.
Zaku 1, it comes with a Rick-Dom, a Zaku 2, a Zeong head,
Yep.
because why not? A GM, 2 balls, 2
Mhm.
Augos,
Yep.
a Musai
Inside.
carrier, the white base, Gundam, gun cannon, gun tank, and what's interesting about this is that these are actually different sculpts from, like, the sculpts that we got. So it's like, this is
Oh.
one of the Zaku 2 sculpts that came with the
Yeah.
Gundam card game. We got a
Oh,
new
cool.
Zaku 2 Mine Layer sculpt, so that's cool.
Yeah. I I'm digging this, to be
I
honest.
wish that we had gotten a Gelgoog instead of the Zeong
Yeah.
head because that's kind of like a goofy niche type thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, 5, 4, so we've got 8 plus 5, so 13 models that come with this deluxe set number 1 for $100.
I mean, relatively speaking to other things, like at Target, they have their whole game board section. There's so many, at least the one
Yeah,
near me. Things aren't priced like this.
yeah,
But,
no.
and how much of that is the IP? Is it like, "Oh, we can put an IP tax on this?" I don't know.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because one of the things that I always compare this to, and again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, I'm gonna sound like such a boomer when I talk about ho my love of HeroScape.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, man, when I was in high school and my early years of college, both my brothers and I and my roommates, we all played HeroScape. Fantastic tabletop miniature war game. You could go to Toys R Us, RIP Toys R Us, but, you could go to Toys R Us and you could get an expansion pack. I don't remember the exact price on the master set, which, like, had all of the terrain and, like, all of the main figures, but the expansion packs would have between 4 and 8 figures depending on the rarity of the figure, there was always, like it's like, "Oh, you might get 2 demon dogs, but you might get 4 cyborgs, or you might get, like, 4 zombies and, like, 2 samurai," or something like that. So, it was always between 4 and 8 total figures in an expansion pack. Those expansion packs ranged between $12.99 and $15.99 back in 2006. Adjusted for inflation, those packs in the year of our Lord 2026 would be $21. So
Still,
you're telling me, oh, and by the way, these were fully
yeah.
painted and assembled for you. No assembly required. So you're telling me that a fully painted, fully assembled 8 figures you could get for $13, call it $21. You can get 8 figures for $21 versus Gundam or Warhammer, unpainted, unassembled, 3 figures for 35 to $40. Like, it's literally
They're pricing themselves out.
they're pricing
No one's
themselves
gonna
out.
carry it. You know, it's funny
Now
because there's
oh,
oh, go on,
go
go
ahead.
on.
No, you go ahead.
Well, because there's a Games Workshop near me, and I would go to look at the cool Warhammer stuff. I usually buy the Warhammer action figures, but they have the miniatures.
Yeah.
But I would be like, $35 for these little," like, already that, and it's like, well, I don't really play, so I'm not that committed, and so I passed, and I could
Well,
just
again, for those of you guys in the chat that might have just funneled in, let us know whether or not you will or will not be
yeah,
playing Gundam Assemble because I'm curious because, like you said, I'm not playing Warhammer. I don't think I can justify the spend. Now,
yeah,
benefit of the doubt. One of the marketing gimmicks of the Gundam Assemble figures is that they come on these miniature runners similar to the Gunpla, right? So it's like there is an aspect of like maybe there is an upcharge, the fact that hey, we're not just giving you a fully painted figure, we're giving you a mini Gunpla.
yeah,
That would be cool if it were posable, if it had all the features that Gunpla usually comes with, maybe that it had pre-colored runners, you know what I mean? Like
very good points, very good points. You keep piling on the good points.
I don't mean to keep piling on Bandai on this, and
Right,
again, honestly, the pricing stuff is on the US retailers, it has little to do with Bandai,
right.
so,
Right, and that's true.
um
And, again, with the pricing, just real quick, I notice when I'm doing video game research, a thing that's come up recently is when gamers are wanting to buy a full priced game, they're way more
yeah,
particular than they used to be. It would be like because Requiem came out, Resident Evil, and
yes.
so people are making that their purchase, and they're like, "Oh, these games are like $70. I'm gonna have to skip out on this or that." And I just think that's like the economy right now where people are like, I might have to pass due to
They're
price."
becoming more discretionary about their
Yeah.
spending, which is
Mhm.
totally understandable.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so last thing that I think is the big set announcement is the starter set. This one is less geared to a specific universe, but it is everything you need to start a game. It's about half the price of the deluxe set, so I think it's like 50 $60. But you get Sharzaku, you get the Wing Zero, you get the Epion, the Vidar, the Barbatos Lupus Rex, and
Mhm.
the RX-78. Again, honestly, look, that's the RX-78 pose. I'm just gonna go hop over to my Thingiverse account here. Dude,
Dig.
I think that my version of the Gundam Rise pose is way cooler than the one that they did in Gundam Assemble. Like,
And it do I remember correctly that you were working on this on stream?
this is one that I did on stream, yeah. Let me see if I can get the full action. So one of the things that I've always been a big fan of is posing miniatures on a base in a way that they don't look like because I hate when it's just like a big post sticking out of a miniature's butt that's like, "Hey, they're
Oh,
flying."
yeah.
So what I did was I took that iconic pose of the Gundam cutting the Zaku in half, but I have
Mhm.
it posed up on a rock, and it's perfectly balanced to where if you 3D print this, it will stand on its own and not topple over, which
That that is cool, man. So, really, anyone could download this stuff right now?
yeah. go over to thingiverse.com, which was recently acquired by my Mini Factory, unfortunately.
Oh,
Well, unfortunately, fortunately, depending on your
who knows yet?
perspective. But yeah, I have a profile that has 1/400th scale,
Oh,
figures. There's a couple of Zaku's, there's a Goof, there's a GM ground type, so I have a lot of those available for free. If you guys are interested,
oh.
definitely let me know in the chat or the comments if you want to see Gundam Assemble proxies. I'll
I
make
think
them
so, man.
because
I think getting those other poses, like that you were doing with the RX-78 too, that's what people are gonna want because it's just like the energy cards,
yeah,
just making your own, people making their own. Yeah.
people want things that are bespoke, that are unique, for
Yeah.
sure, totally. So, let's see. That covers all of the sets that were announced that are coming out. I do wanna point out that this one Twitter user, PZVC something, 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 it's a Japanese Twitter user, obviously.
Yeah.
They caught a very unique thing in the promo video. Do you guys see this?
Well, SD, dude.
That is an SD Command Gundam.
Mm.
What?
So and it reminds me of what was it? The both I think it's Gunbreaker and SD Gundam Battle Alliance. There's, like, these 3 SD Gundams that are, like, the popular face of
Yeah. The
okay.
Musha,
Okay.
the Knight, and the Command Gundam. Those are
That's
the
what I was
3.
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. So we're probably getting the others.
So it's interesting that they are going to be introducing some SD Gundams into the lineup, at least based on this, promotional image from the videos that we saw, so that's kinda cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Let's see. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just thinking, like, if someone wanted to collect all UC, they almost could do it, but there are some sets that were gonna overlap universes, like that semi-deluxe, but
Right.
it's cool that what do you call them? The packs that come out with the 3 are the same universe, at
Yes.
least considering what people wanna collect. Like, I'm sure because this game, you could play it however you want, really. No no one's forcing you.
Yeah.
But I can really see a lot of people taking it seriously with in-universe stuff. You know what I mean?
I hope so because the general consensus that I got from watching the promo videos again, go just, if you look up Gundam Assemble on YouTube, you'll be able to find like the tutorial videos, the preview video that they made, which has some weird visuals. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a scene in the promo video where you've got a dude in, like, a 1940s cabbie vest wearing, like, one of those old driver caps, and then there's another guy that looks like a oil tycoon with suspenders and, like, you know but then here's the interesting thing, is that they're playing Gundam Assemble in their garage with a dude that's got dreadlocks and a hoodie and just, like, kinda looks like a normal contemporary guy, and I was like, "Wait, did they go and take this guy into the past to play Gundam Assemble in 1924?" I'm just
Yeah,
not
I are they trying to make up an audience that this is for?
I have no idea. It looked
See?
like the weirdest AI prompt I've ever seen. It was like
I'm gonna have to check this
it
out.
was like the Monopoly man sitting there eating pizza and, like, barking orders at the Gundam. I have no idea. It was and people accuse me of, like, using AI. I'm like, "Dude,
No.
what was the prompt on that?"
Okay, and this was the one that was on their, Gundam Assemble, YouTube channel?
Yeah, I think it's, like, called PV or something like that, just like preview. Definitely
Oh,
go
I
check
see
it
what
out
you're
if you
talking
haven't.
about.
It's got some interesting visuals, let me put it that way. But the most interesting video that they've put out is the quick start guide because that actually gives you an insight into how the game is played. And one of the things that I want to talk about for sure is the actual mechanics of the game because some of the stuff is kind of cool, some of it, I don't know, I have mixed feelings
Hmm,
about. So, we talked, I think, a couple weeks ago about the timeline mechanic, right?
yeah.
So, the way the timeline works is that each round You every unit has a timeline value, so they start, on a particular part on the timeline, so, like, a Zaku might start at timeline 1, whereas the Gundam will start on timeline 3, and that's a way of balancing the game so that the weaker units get to act first, and then the stronger units get to
Ah.
act, and then each unit, their attacks and their actions actually have a timeline cost. So, for instance, if the Gundam uses its beam saber, it costs 2 timeline, so it moves 2 slots up the timeline, versus if it uses its beam rifle, it costs 4 timeline, so it moves 4 up the timeline, which means it has longer to wait before its next turn, right? So it's kind of a way of tracking, you know, the speed of a unit because some units act before others, and then depending on the action that they take, they might not get to act again until much later in the round. What's interesting about that is that most games are about acquiring the most victory points before the end of 20 rounds. So 20 go throughs of the timeline, right? Um, and then every unit that you destroy has they have victory points associated with them. Now you're gonna get more victory points if you take out a commander unit, the Wing Zero, the Gundam, than if you take out a Zaku or Ball or that
Mhm.
weird mobile worker thing that that
Oh,
Banagher
yeah.
pilots.
Yeah.
Um, what's interesting is there's actually a mechanic where 2 turns after a unit is destroyed, you can summon them back to the battlefield. So you get a respawn of your
Hmm.
units, which is
The it
interesting.
the weaker ones?
Of all of them,
Of all? Oh, okay.
if any of your units is destroyed during a match, as long as it's still within the time limit of the game, which is 20 rounds, 2 turns later, you can bring them back out onto the map.
That's pretty cool.
So it's kind of cool because it's like you avoid the death spiral
It
because that's one of the things in tabletop gaming where if you lose 2 units, obviously the action economy is going to dictate that you're going to lose the battle because just the nature of the way things work. Like you're going to get hammered, you know what I mean? So it does give you the opportunity to recover and to rally because maybe you do get a unit taken out, but then 2 turns later, you can bring him back, and then you can kinda turn the tide in your favor. But I don't know, do you think that that affects do you think that that lowers the stakes of any particular match?
So, yes, and I almost feels like this answers my question when we were talking before about what the gameplay is gonna be like. Is this gonna be very deep and tactical, or is this gonna be very fast-paced and actiony? I feel like this is gonna be very fast-paced and actiony. I kinda don't mind it too. I like the idea of your troops coming back because it's like if this is a large-scale battle, I would have reinforcements or, so it kinda helps, sell that vibe for me. So, yeah.
But then, like, when it comes to playing a scenario, like, this deluxe set, right? It's the Battle of Abawaku. You're not gonna have the Zeong come back after it's defeated.
That's a good point. If that happened, it would break it for me, and you would automatically lose if I was
Yeah,
playing.
like, kinda breaks the immersion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have 100% commitment one way or the other, but like I said, I have mixed feelings about the way that that mechanic works in general. The other thing that's interesting is that all units only move 3 spaces. Doesn't matter. Like, certain
Mhm.
units have special abilities that if you dash, you get to move 1 extra unit 1 extra space or something like that. But, like, all units move 3 spaces. That's it.
Yeah, that almost, again, kinda lends to it being a little more on the simplistic side. That's not a lot you have to like, when we're playing the card game, I felt like you were breaking my brain every second because you were like, "No, you need to put the plumbus into the reticle," and then and it's like, "Okay, I don't." I had to pull that out. Hey, by the way, if you're hearing a lot of background noise, the rain is, like, insane right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I haven't heard anything, so
okay,
you're
good,
good on my
good.
end.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's, I guess it depends on what kind of gaming experience you're going for, and it seems to me like the experience that they're trying to cultivate is one that is more attuned with what you might expect from, like, a GBO2 or a Dynasty Warriors Gundam, where, like, the story doesn't matter so much, the stakes of the match don't matter so much, it's really just down to, like, the raw gameplay, and that's not to say that it's not tactical, because obviously you
Yeah.
have your command cards, you get to pick your squad, you get to pick which order they move in, kind of. So it's like, it's not that it's not tactical, but what it does is it makes your decisions less, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're not gonna get punished as harshly for making the wrong move.
Less of a
Does that make sense?
chess style game
Yeah.
and more of a checkers.
There you go.
Maybe that's it.
There you go. I'm over here playing chess, y'all playing checkers. Yeah, no, it's,
But that could get more people interested in when I'm like, "Hey, you wanna play a Gundam game with me?" And people are like, "Gundam, Adam? Gundam? You think I wanna
come
play
on, guy.
Gundam?" And this could be easy. It could be a quick, fun thing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. It it really does seem like a fascinating game, and I will play at least one or 2 rounds of it, but, like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's not something that I see myself getting too attached to when there are other gameplay styles that I'm much more interested in. What do you think, Adam? Where are you landing as far as
You know what? What I do find interesting is being someone as plugged into the Gundam world as I am, even the card game really doesn't seem to be talked about outside of card game stuff. If it's not like it's seeping through into the other things I'm into, and I think G Generation Eternal is a way to kinda help Assemble get that leverage, and it could be again, I would have to play this, but if I was to play this and I was to find it, "Hey, this is a fun little tactical war game I could be playing with friends pretty easily," like, if it becomes that, then that's cool, but then, 1, I have to try it. Am I gonna find it? Am I gonna wanna spend the money on it? Because am I gonna show family, "Hey, guys, this is 100. Are you gonna wanna play?" And everyone's like, "Gundam?"
and we
So
have to
it's
paint our own figures? Like,
yeah. Yeah, we get home, "Okay, first before we play, let's paint." Yeah, which actually that is a cool aspect, in
it
some ways.
is. I mean, both the Metal Gear Solid and the Resident Evil board games that came out recently, like, those have unpainted miniatures, but again, you don't have to assemble them. But
Oh, yeah.
and again, like, I feel like I'm harping on the whole, like, you have to build your own figures thing as, like, a negative. I do understand that there is, like, a branding position around, "You build
Yeah,
your own figures, it's like Gunpla."
yep.
Like, I
I
get
mean, it
that.
was it was interesting because it was people that were into painting Warhammer miniatures that were like, "Ooh, Gunpla is something to get into."
Yeah.
So, is it really the next logical conclusion to then make Gundam miniatures? Or is that I don't know. I think why not? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
Well, I definitely will find myself, at the very least, I'm gonna be printing and painting a lot of Gundam miniatures here
sweet.
in the foreseeable future, 1000%. I still do believe that, it's got that bug in me that I want to fully build out
Yeah?
MagMex, the mecha
Oh,
game that I've been working on for some time, and I've mentioned this on stream before, but MagMex, I think, is going to be, that's gonna be top of mind for the foreseeable future as well. So,
okay.
yeah, in the meantime, like I said, guys, I hope that you guys get into this game as much as I will. I will, of course, participate. I wanna learn from it. I wanna see what they do well, see what they don't do well. Adam, I hope we have the opportunity to play together sometime.
Yep.
Um, Thank you, of course, as always, for
Yeah,
indulging my fancies into
of course.
tabletop miniature gaming. This, I think, is probably the most exciting thing that Gundam has done in, I don't know, at least the last 5 or 6 years to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true. You are the tabletop guy. You
Yeah.
created a rule set for a whole Gundam.
I was gonna say this
Yeah,
is like what I do.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so let me know in the comments and in the chat, you guys, if this is something if you're gonna buy the figures to paint them, let me know. If you're gonna buy the figures and play, let me know.
yeah,
I'm interested to see what the broader community is thinking because obviously I've expressed my opinion, Adam's expressed his, but I wanna know where, like, the boots on the ground are gonna land.
yeah. I'm curious too.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you learned something. Definitely go check out the Gundam Assemble channel and see the rule set and all of that stuff. Go watch Adam's video, especially the one from Monday about AI, because
Yep,
especially when it comes to things like the Alice AI, the exam system, the Hades system, there's a lot of AI that exists in Gundam that you don't necessarily think about all the
exactly.
time.
Yeah,
Definitely check out the Gundam Explained show tomorrow on
that's
Gundam
right.
Explained. Adam and I will be live, an hour earlier than we are
Yeah,
tonight. Until next time, you guys take it easy. Have a good evening. Hope you all have a great rest of your week.
yeah. See ya.